Good morning folks, I'm back in Edinburgh today, but not for long I'm afraid. No, I've got a meeting in London today and I've also got a lot of video editing to do. So I'm going to try and make the most of this journey and take the train. Now that should make sense for three main reasons. Number one, the train will get me right into the heart of London at King's Cross. Number two, I should have space to stretch out and crack on with that work. And number three, most importantly, I'll be able to bring you a wee video. Now where we are just now, I've got a Lumo on my left and a ScotRail on my right, but neither of these are our train. No, we're going to be travelling LNER First Class. And the only reason I've been able to travel first class today is because I was able to find a real bargain ticket. Our train departs at 6:56 this morning. Yeah, to go cheap I had to go early. Now there is a wee first class lounge here at Edinburgh Waverley, but it doesn't open till 6:30. I'm a wee bit early for it just now, but we should have time to have a quick look in there before we board. Now although we have what is for me, let's face it, a luxury experience this morning, it's not going to be the same all day. No, we're going to be coming back on the Caledonian Sleeper in their infamous seated carriage. So it really is going to be a tale of two trains. If I'm not mistaken, that's our train just arrived right there at platform 6, which is just round the corner from the lounge, which should be open now. I think I'm going the right way. You can tell I'm not used to this. I must admit I was really impressed with this lounge. It was definitely better than I was expecting, and I almost wish I had more time to just sit and relax in these comfy seats. I love the wee nods to Scotland and the views out to the platforms. Now let's go and have a wee peek at the toilets. Proud of Scotland. Inside the lounge you've got these nice little individual toilet cubicles and they've got a shower. No time for a shower for me this morning, but it's good to know it's here, and I guess you just pick up a towel from reception. Sorry, one thing I forgot to check was whether this lounge was catered or just drinks. Either way, I only had time for a coffee this morning. Right, it's time to get on board our morning Azuma, and I'm looking for coach L, seat 39.
Welcome, this is your 6:56 LNER service to London King's Cross. The service will call at Newcastle, Durham, Darlington, Northallerton, York, Doncaster, Northgate, Peterborough and London King's Cross.
We pulled out of Edinburgh bang on time with the sun coming up over East Lothian as we began the journey south. Now I took the opportunity to open up the laptop and do some edits while breakfast orders were taken and drinks were served. I love the views out over the North Sea, but bear in mind sitting on the left hand side on a morning departure means you'll have a hard sun staring right back at you. As I open up the menu, there's something you need to be aware of when you're travelling LNER First Class. A quick look on their website confirms there are 3 different tiers of catering depending on the train you're on. There's deli, there's dish and there's dine. Now hidden deeper on this page you'll find a PDF showing exactly what you can expect, and I was lucky enough to be on a dine train this morning. As I'm waiting for breakfast to arrive at my seat, let's have a quick look at the other seats. I'm of course in one of these single ones, but on a quiet train I'd been nabbing one of these with so much more desk space. And then you've got the traditional table with 4 seats. You'll see now we're approaching Berwick-upon-Tweed and the lovely views it always offers up from the train. Shortly after Berwick, this impressive breakfast was served up, and I must admit it was a lot tastier than I was expecting, and accompanied by more drinks and shortbread. I scoffed it all down, and then it was back to work as we sped towards Newcastle. Up until now the train had been fairly quiet, but our first stop in England brought with it a lot more passengers, especially in Newcastle and then York. As you'll see from the next few clips, views of famous landmarks are possible, but you've got to be quick to catch them as they don't hang around for long. Can you recognise the ones that I was able to capture? I'm afraid I wasn't on the ball enough to get anything better.
Just to remind you that we do only take contact this plane.
Just before arriving at King's Cross, look out to the left and you'll see Emirates Stadium, where all those Arsenal fans are getting nosebleeds at the moment from sitting at the top of the league.
Also, add a bit out to the top of Buckingham Palace. You can have the ticket handy to exit the station quickly and smoothly.
Welcome to King's Cross, London, folks. I'll just get outside and then I'll give you my thoughts on LNER First Class. So what did I think of that? Well, it was an absolute pleasure from start to finish, such a rare treat for me, and I enjoyed every minute. In fact, we were delayed by over half an hour and I didn't care, I could have sat there all day. If I had one wee niggle, and this is quite fundamental I guess, it's the seat itself. The last time I travelled first class, the seat was big and plush and luxurious, and it feels like it's been downgraded now. So LNER, if you could just make that seat a wee bit more comfortable, you'd have a pretty flawless product. Right, I'm away now, so I'll see you later on this evening for the dreaded return. Hello again, this time from London Euston. It's been 10 hours since we last spoke and I'm feeling a wee bit dishevelled. It has rained all day in London today and that's washed away any memory of that nice first class experience this morning. Now we're about to get on another train, the Caledonian Sleeper, for 8 hours overnight in a seat. That's going to be a wee bit more of a challenge. Now the sleeper departs at 23:50, but you can actually board the train from 10:30. Now that makes a lot of sense, especially if you've got a cabin and you can get on board and get to bed early. But even for me in a seat, I think it's better to be on the train than hanging about Euston Station. So let's get on board, get settled for that long journey ahead. Sorry about that. So here we are, stepping into my carriage for the night, and on first impressions I must admit it looks a lot nicer than I was expecting. And a quick walk up and down the aisle leaves me feeling okay about what's to come for me and the other poor passengers. Although I'm not going to lie, I'm still glad to have chosen seat 1A with its sturdy table and pretty much unlimited legroom. Okay, the seat wasn't perfect, but I did like this little reading light and adjustable headrest, and things were all looking pretty positive, but stay tuned and you'll see why the seat wasn't the problem on this journey. Oh, and you get your own little private locker and window blind, and as you can see here, legroom at this end of the carriage is awesome. I even ended up using my bag as a wee ottoman. There was a menu provided, but I wasn't sure if it was table service and never ended up going to the dining car anyway. I thought it was only for sleeper cabin passengers. You also get a wee amenity kit, but it's only an eye mask and some earplugs, with nothing else in the bag. As I watched the lucky folks heading off to their proper cabins, I took a look at the other seats further back in our carriage. All looking quite well designed and comfortable, nothing amiss here. I'll be honest, I don't think this seat's too bad, but we'll see if we're still saying that on arrival in Edinburgh tomorrow morning. In my mind I had this 4 opposite as a plan B if things got really bad, and I also watched a video from Scott at Planes, Trains, Everything made on this very journey. But as we started to move, this is where everything took a turn for the worse, and you'll soon see, or should I say hear, why. As if the noise wasn't bad enough, this massive light above the window couldn't be turned off and it was inside the blind. But it was the constant rattle, even with the doubling up of headphones and earplugs, that really kept me sitting awake in a bit of a daze. And if that wasn't bad enough, I didn't realise that my socket and USB were just toys and didn't actually work at all. At least the toilet got pass marks. Maybe I should just have sat here all night, but do you end up in the tracks if you flush while seated? Eventually we arrive into Scotland and make a stop at Carstairs Junction. Now I'm not 100% sure what happens here, but this is where we start moving in the opposite direction. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. Welcome to Edinburgh, folks. What can I say? That is, by a distance, the rattliest, noisiest train carriage I've ever been in. And to think they use that for the sleeper, it's more like Caledonian sleep deprivation. I got maybe 20 minutes, half an hour sleep. I don't have the energy now to even do a proper outro. I can barely function. So I'll just say I hope you enjoyed that wee trip to London, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.